Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we'll be talking about the Utah Jazz. And this is obviously a team that, year three, maybe even four, year three, definitely, of the rebuild. So when we look at it from the standpoint of them having 14% best odds of securing the number one pick, then you look at just this being the team that obviously having a guy like, and you'd think at this point they're starting to figure out who's going to be a part of the core. They're going to be a team that also has 2 second-round picks, one from Dallas, one from the Clippers, and then the 22nd pick from Minnesota. Now, it's 2022. We all know that's when they traded away Gobert and Mitchell. And as I said, 3 years have passed since then. And having 9 guys with the age of 23 or younger being on the roster, they lost 60 games in a season for the first time in franchise history. They've not won 3 straight since January 2024. But there are multiple guys on this roster, and I think one of them, you could look at it. Obviously, Lowry is a cornerstone or a really good trade asset that contending teams or even playoff teams would have interest in acquiring. Now, to me, I think the biggest thing is, if you look right here, Jazz this season with Will Hardy, who we all know is a great, fantastic coach. They had the 24th offensive rating. They were obviously the worst defensive rating, third in net rating, to be honest, which actually surprised me. But if we look at this team from a statistical standpoint, was there anything that really stands out about the team? I mean, they do attempt the 6 most 3-point attempts. They get to the free throw line 8 bunch. They do a good job of rebounding the basketball. And Isaiah Collier is a guy that I think a lot of people were surprised by his ability. I think John Collins had a really strong start to the year and a year in general, where I know he only played 40 games, but shot 52% from the field, about 40% from three, averaged 19 and 8 as a guy who started 31 games. And Collins actually is another one that 18.5 points from Colin Sexton while dishing out 4 assists. So when I look at this with, Keontae Georgios being 17 and 6 guy this year, he had 2.5 blocks with 11 points and 12 rebounds from Walker Kessler, who also had 4.6 offensive, rebounds. This is a guy shooting 70% from the field. Insane numbers. Yeah, 17% on a little over half a tempo game. Kyle Popowski is another guy, 9.5 points, 2 assists, 6 rebounds. And he shot 34% from 3, 50% from the field. Bryce Sensabaugh, 5 attempts from 3, 41%, which is absolutely insane to think about. And with that said, we talked about Isaiah Collier. He was a guy who just destroyed the second half of the season. Even Johnny Juzang started to come together. We saw some Steve Mikhailiu, Oscar Schwiebe. It's unfortunate what happened to Taylor Hendricks. And they still have Cody Williams. You can take that with whatever. Unfortunate rookie year for him, but that's something. I mean, that's what blew my mind, is that this year Walker Kessler ended second in total blocks this season, only trailing Victor Wembanyama. That's insane. And they're a team that, they have 15 players under contract. They have tons of financial flexibilities, and they have $60 million in expiring contracts, and no other player on the roster making more than $27 million. So with 2 first-round picks and 15 players on the roster, I think Utah should act like a team either looking to make a move to consolidate contracts to either save money or to go ahead and get a better player to help, obviously raise the talent level of this team. And to me, that's the biggest thing, is this team at now? Like, we've just discussed it. There's talent on the squad. Out of the 15 players, 5 of them, Cody Williams, Isaiah Collier, Keontae George, Taylor Hendricks, and Bryson Sensabaugh, first-round picks selected by Utah in the last 2 years. They have 14% chance of selecting first overall, and they own 3 additional picks, as we mentioned earlier. So to me, I think when you have a guy now in marketing who's under contract for the next 4 years, Colin Sexton, John Collins, and then Jordan Clarkson are all entering the last year of their contracts. I wonder what's the thought. Markkanen is now trade eligible. He averaged 8.5 3-point shots this season, which was a career high, but shot 35% from beyond the arc, second lowest mark in his career, and played 47 games this year, which is, again, the second lowest in his career. to me, if you're looking at it, they could resign this offseason Walker Kessler, or they could, yeah, because 2023, 2024, yeah, he becomes extension eligible this offseason. There's also, John Collins and Colin Sexton, but I don't think they're going to do that. I just think this is definitely an organization that wants to improve their offense, wants to improve their defense. Obviously, they turned the ball over a bunch, and their defense has been bad. So you're probably looking at, they're not trying to spend money. I think they obviously want to discard contracts. So for me, what I find interesting is that the Jazz own 11 first-round picks, including 5 unprotected from Cleveland, Minnesota, and the Suns also send Utah pick. So they've got a lot of teams' rosters or bevy of picks that they control, even from an unprotected standpoint. And if I'm Utah, I'm not going in there and really like trying to break the bank or spend money. So if we look at whose contracts are going to be the easiest to move, I do think you extend Walker Kessler. It's going to be cheaper now than if you let him there. So Utah obviously is an interesting market due to the fact that Svi Mikhaili has no guaranteed money next year, so Johnny Juzang does not either. And yeah, that's definitely interesting. Also, another player that I completely forgot who ended up in Utah at the end of the season was KJ Martin. And KJ Martin averaged in 23 minutes a night, which was his most since Houston. It would, again, another impressive stat by him to finish out the year. And what I mean by that is that he had that, 29. So yeah, I like what they're building here, and that's the pieces. Who's going to be guys I don't think they're going to bring back? Man, I think Svi is a good contender for that, especially if they don't bring back or they want to cut and save money on his salary. I think that's definitely something you could look at and, maybe think of. Definitely thought that he has nothing guaranteed that year, and with Taylor Hendricks coming back, but I do think it's going to be hard to find a suitor for John Collins, who has $26.58 million left in his contract this coming year. Even though it is going to be an expiring, he's going to be someone that they're going to have to look to keep or look to trade. Obviously, he's not going to get bought out. He still has value. But one of the larger things is the Collins and Jordan Clarkson problem that they have right now, which is obviously those guys just bogging down the minutes and kind of just holding grip over that. So I do wonder what's going to be the end-all, be-all solution right there. But definitely interesting to hear your guys' opinions in the comment section, because what Danny Ainge is doing here, ironically, when I was at Hoop Summit this week, I'm right now in the airport, about to fly back from Portland to Miami, and the next week I gotta go to Portsmouth. But just the gist of what we're getting at is, damn, it's been a long week. But Danny Ainge was there, and then he's within 24 hours, he was at the Utah Jazz game. So I do think it's a bit interesting, and if you guys made it to this point of the video, I want to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section. What do you guys expect and why from this franchise? I definitely think it's going to be an interesting next group of days, and yeah, I wonder. So what are your thoughts and why? But I think it's a curious situation that we're in if you're a Utah Jazz fan. But this can go either way. They could be a playoff team next year, or they could be back where they are. Who knows? I think Cooper Flag, I think it's game over.